people are just less interested in the Enneagram.
Yeah, you're probably underestimating how much like don't fucking talk to me energy you have, you know?
Thank you. That's literally exactly what I said. It was like John's like beauty to scary ratio is just like it's like at toxic levels, you know? No one's going to talk to him.
Scary levels.
So Akram is Venus, Emeka is Hades. Pluto.
There you go.
Well, it depends on the time of the month. That's
well, that's true. That's totally dark.
Sometimes it switches up. Hades.
Dark and Crom emerges.
The big hormone Enneagram.
I'm John Lekovich, 415, sexual self-pres, 458 Trifix.
I'm David Gray, self-pres sexual, 9 with 1 wing, 974 Trifix.
What up, it's Emeka. I'm an 8-wing-7, sexual self-pres with 854 fixes.
Hi, I'm Alexandra. I'm a social self-preservation 9-wing-1, 963 Trifix.
Like and subscribe on Apple and Spotify, and leave us a review. If you want to support the show with a donation, you can find us on Venmo at Big Hormone and paypal.me/Big Hormone. What are y'all doing? I'm just drinking.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
I didn't get into mushrooms.
I'm like 5'6".
Okay.
Are you guys
We
drinking alcohol?
We just went to Doris and got a little lit up at happy hour.
How many?
Yeah.
How many?
We had a cocktail and a beer.
2.5. We had a
And then
cocktail
another
beer
half.
and then another half a beer.
We
Yeah,
split a
and
beer.
then John's drinking a beer right now.
All right.
Are you going to have more, Alexandra?
I think so. Now that I'm seeing John, because I'm a copycat. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You want to get the thing started?
Yeah, let's go.
We've got
what are you
a
doing?
list.
I mean, we tend to just go through notable highlights of the year. I can do a rundown of some of the more popular episodes, and then we can talk about like
Very cool.
what episodes we like, and then we just talk about some of the events of the year that were significant for us. I guess to kind of come up with a theme for the year, you know, like how a band, you know, like a new band comes out and they put out their first album, and there's this burst of creative energy, and they make maybe 1 or 2 albums, and then maybe there's a long gap, and the third or fourth album is very different. And what I realized, you know, when I was younger, I didn't really get it, but the older I got, I realized like usually the first album is the culmination of what you've been building up to maybe for 5 to 10 years. Like you've been working on these songs for such a long time. So the first album is just like you're just unloading all this stuff that you've been wanting to put out. The second album is probably more of the same, but then you have to sort of like find a new octave or a new skin, and which takes time and experiences. So it feels like this is the 4th year we've been doing this pod, and the first, you know, couple years was just kind of going through all the expected things that we wanted to hit, like the basic types and object relations, and basically all the basics we've hit. And this year it felt like we've just hit this sort of empty space, and we were just following whatever came up. There were a couple episodes where we would just show up and see, hey, let's just talk and see what comes up. And so this year, instincts were the thing that kind of emerged. We did a lot on sexual instinct. We did the stacking roasts. We also kind of looked at, I think one thing that was interesting was the OR stackings. We looked at that. That was cool. But aside from that, it's been pretty chill. Like, it's been pretty chill, free-flowing kind of year. And it feels like it's one of those things where you kind of have to experience things to let a new creative octave emerge without necessarily trying to force something. So that's my impression of this year.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I felt like this year was kind of like a tough year, on a personal level, and I don't know if I think for most of us here, I don't know like how you feel, Emeka, but at least for the other 3 of us, it has been like a tough year, like on a personal level, and really challenging. So like I've been in a place where I've been feeling not only personally challenged, but also I was thinking about this, and I feel like the Enneagram is at a weird place overall. Like, like the new people coming in has been lower than ever, but also, I feel like the Enneagram right before COVID, a lot of people did Shift Network presentations, and I feel like the Shift Network took this sensibility that the Enneagram Institute and other schools had cultivated over, a couple decades of, hey, if you're going to learn the Enneagram, you need this like very focused, in-depth, in-person, experiential combination of practice and information. And they were like, hey, we're going to just like maybe like throw some like nice little like listening meditations together. But we're going to give you all the information. It's going to be all audio. It's going to be all over the internet. And you don't have to be around anybody else to learn it. You don't have to interact with anybody in a real way. And let's distill it as much as possible so we can make as much money as possible.
Yeah.
So I've been on the Shift Network Global Summit things plenty of times, but a lot of the major teachers were just offering. There was a period of time where like every couple months, this sort of major teachers in the Enneagram were offering basically the course that you'd have to pay a lot more for to get in person and over time for much cheaper, kind of quick hit. And it was like make money fast kind of feeling to it. I think that's at a certain tone. And then I just think also with COVID, in conjunction with the Shift Network kind of moving what was in person into the online, is that people just started doing their online TikToks and YouTube videos, and that just happened real fast.
Yeah.
It happened in a way that was all based on the established information that came before that this podcast has been majorly critiquing. And so that quality of information and the way that information was presented never had much of a work with it kind of orientation.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there's a combination of things that have led to where it sort of felt stagnant as an overall thing collectively in the Enneagram. And then for me, like I've been feeling like, man, I have invested so much time and energy into the Enneagram. And I kind of thought that this was something that my expertise would be something I could just endlessly go forward with in the world. And now I'm like, man, it doesn't quite feel that way. Like I'm not sure about that. And I'm like, I love that I invested as much time as I did on a personal level into the Enneagram.
Right.
But now I'm like, man, I don't know if I have the skills to feed myself.
Right. I don't know. This is the first year where I realized I don't know if this is going to be, because 2020 when we started the pod, it was like the first year I was like, oh, this is what I doing this, creating stuff with the Enneagram was really cool, and let's take this as far as we can go. This is the first year where I felt that this may not be able to pan out as like a one-stop, like, oh, we could just do this and sustain ourselves.
Right.
And one thing that should be mentioned is that if you look at the last 20 years in terms of interest in the Enneagram, at least online, in terms of the search term Enneagram, basically from 2015, 2016 era, around that time, coinciding with the evangelicals becoming interested in the Enneagram, the Enneagram experienced the biggest boom of interest it's ever had. It's such a huge peak compared to like the 20-year trend. And it's really Ian Cron, that book, and all those evangelicals coming in, and also the explosion of the Enneagram on social media, which is largely the Christians that were on social media. And what has happened in the last 2 years, because if you remember, Enneagram Place, once like back when Enneagram was really big on Facebook, Enneagram Place was the biggest Enneagram group for Ian Cron's book, for anyone who was into Ian Cron's book, and it had like 15,000 whatever fucking people on there. That group is dead. Like, I mean, completely dead. Not even like people, a couple people posting. It's just teachers posting their podcast links or their workshop links at this point.
Right.
So what has happened in the last couple of years is that the evangelicals have basically moved on from the Enneagram. There's been all those videos you used to see of the Enneagram is satanic and all this stuff. It's really, that is where people are at. I mean, of course, there's still a lot of Christians that are left over. But if you look at the interest in the Enneagram now, it's significantly lower than it was 4 years ago when we started the group, or 5 years ago when we started the group, and 4 years ago when we started the podcast. It's significantly lower.
Right.
And even just looking at our website stats, it's been going up every single year. This is the first year that it's been going down.
Right.
Nothing has changed. People are just less interested in the Enneagram. So I think maybe like the interest, the boom that we saw, because we started the podcast at like perfect time. It was the evangelicals. That's really what it probably mostly a lot of Christians. And then that created a lot of buzz. And those people have moved on, and we're kind of back to, because we weren't really creating content before then, so we didn't really know what the level of interest was. Maybe this is the new the normal that it's always been.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, like when I worked for Russ, like people were like really eager to go to these like very week-long trainings, and like it was like a whole thing, and a whole community would spring up around it. Like people that went to trainings in the same cohort or whatever would branch off and make their own like groups, their own learning groups and things like this. And maybe that's still happening, but
is that still happening? Is that, or
like the Enneagram Institute is not really doing their own thing anymore. And I think most stuff has turned into online stuff. And I feel like also that the way the Enneagram has been handled in this internet era has had this kind of quality of like sort of like astrology, horoscopes, like what's your sign? And so like all the evangelicals think they're 4s. So all right, you're 4, a little bit of 4, move on.
Right.
And that's what I was sort of referring to with this like
shift network deal.
Yeah, the shift network vibe, where it's sort of the sense of your type is like learning your type is going to be like a whole fucking journey. That I think has died a lot in terms of the popular entry into the Enneagram. And I don't know. I think that's what we're seeing a lot of. And so it's kind of hard. Like, it's weird because from my point of view, I'm like, what would you want to learn more about than your own inner life? But I'm kind of like trying to like keep my attention on like what are people interested in? Where's it going? And I also feel like the economy changing too.
Yes.
Is a big part where, we're back to work, but after COVID, but nobody's making any money.
Everything's way more expensive than it used to be. Like
way more expensive. Yeah, everybody feels like more strapped. Feels like people's attention and interest on new things is really waning.
Yeah, because during the pandemic, people were stuck at home, and so they didn't have anything else to do but reflect. But it's this weird thing where the pandemic is done, so people can go do whatever they want, but nobody has any money to spend. Everything's expensive. Because in March, because we started the year strong, but in March there was a banking crisis that happened. I wonder if because since March it has been slow across the board.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is that people have been strapped for cash.
Yeah, I think it's a big part of it. Yeah, like even though everybody on the news is like the economy's going strong, it's going strong for very wealthy people, but I've noticed like fewer clients, and clients that I'm taking need to have reduced rates. It happened pretty fast. Like, happened pretty fast. And so, and I've noticed it in other arenas, like there just seems like people have less spending money overall. Right. So that's kind of interesting, this connection between Enneagram and the economy or something.
It's also people don't know about us and our group and our whole ecosystem. And so
that's true.
They're doing, as much of a dive as they can with the mediocre stuff that's out there, but they don't understand that there's this whole other rich world that they could be going further with.
Well, I actually disagree with that. I do think people are aware of us. I do think at this point, this is year 4. Whenever there's a thread on Reddit, there's a lot of responses. People are very aware. I mean, anyone who's online interested in the Enneagram has found our podcast, has found our website. Because if you're looking for like Enneagram instincts, for example, we're the only website that has stuff on the stackings besides David, your site, and our site. So it's not like we're a mystery anymore. People are very aware of us. I do think it's just also people are just, we're a polarizing group. So the people that are interested are coming our way. I just think we just occupy a certain percentage of the people that are interested in the Enneagram. Like we're not a mystery at this point.
Okay.
You know, like that's one thing I've been trying to stress. Like it's that people come to our group and there's a large number of people who leave. It's like this is a very specific flavor for a very specific type of person. And then, you know, when you talk about like exposure, like people know exactly what big hormone is on Reddit. They just don't. Most of the responses are overwhelmingly not positive.
I don't know.
Yeah, Reddit hates us.
I actually still kind of disagree with that because in a certain way, Reddit still is the minority. It's like the invested minority, but it's still the minority. So I think so what COVID and lockdown brought was a ton of free time. And so people were able to more deeply saturate in their interests, even their like frivolous interests. Maybe that's like where this podcast got a lot of traction because people had like the time and space to more deeply commit to what they were interested in, or even just like more deeply dabble in what they were interested in. And now that everything's opened back up and the economy is like a little tighter, right? Everybody's a little more strapped for cash. The ability to kind of penetrate into the more niche groups, which, you know, this still is a niche group. It's the Enneagram is a niche interest, and we are niche within the niche, right? Dumb shit like Enneagram coffee, Ian Crone, Suzanne Stabile, all that Christian shit still is right up top.
Right.
And so I still do think it takes like a certain level of commitment to find us. And then
I wouldn't say
develop
find
an interest.
I wouldn't say find. I mean, because just imagine if you were just starting out in the Enneagram and you did a search for Enneagram instincts. Our website is number 1 for any instinctual. If you search sexual self-pres, social sexual, like our site is not hard to find. Our podcast is not hard to find. So I mean, we've been doing this for 4 years. This podcast for 4 years. The group has been around, or the website has been around for 5 years. Our articles span far and wide. So it's like, if you're even an intellectual person who has any curiosity about like any of this more specific aspects of the Enneagram, you have seen the website.
Yeah, I agree with that. But maybe this is like the Trifix perspective is like the numbers still favor with other people. The numbers still do side with like Enneagram and coffee, Millenniagram. I think she's done. Yeah. But it still is like that type of shit that has the numbers that back it, which does sell a certain, I don't know, credence or something like that. But even with all of that, I do think that the people that would stick around are the people that are more deeply invested. Like John has talked for a long time about how he wishes the Enneagram was kept secret and was kept like sacred to a certain degree. And maybe this is like dumb bitch positive outlook type perspective, but like this is the opportunity for people to show that. Like Josh and I had our attachment support group, and it was sold out, and people's investment was really strong. The like Discord chat is still active. It ended in October, and it's still active to a daily level. So that could be like the silver lining, that it's out of like people's like frivolous opportunity interest spectrum or whatever, but the people that are still around might be more invested, might be more serious.
Oh yeah. I'm considering like there's a couple things there. I mean, so for one, because my Egypt trip is still on, I'm offering a like kind of a Egypt and inner life workshop on January 14th. So that'll be on the enneagramschool.com. I haven't made any as far as recording this. I haven't made any official things yet, but that's what it's going to be. Relevance of Egypt and the Enneagram and inner work and transformation, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, like I feel like one thing that was interesting is I spent like a week arguing with people on Reddit, and in the Reddit crowd, it's like they're super wedded to the language, like to kind of a Naranjo sensibility.
Yeah.
Like literally they quote Naranjo, they love Naranjo. I think they imagine Naranjo as like very authoritatively psychological.
Sure.
And it's kind of like people that like Jordan Peterson who are like kind of like dumb, who listen to Jordan Peterson and are like, oh, this is a really smart guy. But like because they don't know, they aren't already familiar at the onset of the concepts he's talking about, they think that like, wow, this is a really authoritative person. And Naranjo is a similar way for me. Whereas like I feel like if you understand psychology or psychoanalysis before you go to Naranjo, then you read Naranjo and you're like, this is pretty dumb for the most part. But if you don't, you're like, wow, he's drawing on psychological concepts. Very smart guy. And so they're like really in that. And I feel like we have this reputation in those circles of being just assholes because we are opposed or we contradict the whatever authority.
And we're not as overtly sort of intellectual or something like Naranjo. And I mean,
we're not presenting it like, you know how like I feel like a lot of MBTI kind of types have this pseudo intellectual facade that they put on when they write.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you see in OPS people too. It's like this sort of pseudo intellectualism, and I feel like we talk very bluntly. We don't talk in this sort of whatever. But I feel like our content is actually much more intellectual.
Yeah.
We don't have this sort of facade or whatever. So anyway, it was really interesting arguing with people on that thing because they'll be very attached to a veneer of psychoanalytic concepts based on what they think Naranjo is saying, not really interpreting him correctly nor interpreting what we're saying correctly, but it's sort of like, well, this is the older, more established figure. Anyway, I thought that it's like a whole thing, but I feel like there's that kind of niche, and they've like sort of said we're the bad guys online. It's kind of interesting.
Sure. Saying that we're the bad guys is what brought us the initial rush of people that were interested in us, because drama is what attracted a lot of people to our group, and then they see the content and the typings and everything, and the people that are really about it stay. I just think we just had much lower volume, but the ratio of people who are really into the Enneagram and into being confronted by the Enneagram has always been the same to me. Because I look at the stats in terms of like this many people come in and this many people leave, and it's been consistent since the beginning. So like the group is polarizing in a very specific way. People respond to the content in a very specific way. So when I see less people, I only see just less people have shown up this year.
What's the main thing, John, that on the Naranjo stuff, is it does it cluster more specifically around like his subtypes stuff? Is that the thing they're revering or whatever?
That's a part of it, but what I see, it's been a while since I've looked at that, but what I saw was people kind of appreciating the way Naranjo throws all these different psychoanalytic concepts, like, I mean, even object relations, defense mechanisms, I don't know, different distinctions that, like, sort of psychoanalytic distinctions. He just would sort of throws them out, sort of ad hoc in his descriptions in his writing. And it felt to me like people going, wow, this must be really deep. You know, like reading different things and being like, wow, this is a master who knows what he's talking about.
How good is his object relations stuff?
It's really, it's not systematized in terms of the Enneagram. Like, he refers to it a couple times, but as far as I recall, it's not like attachment.
Oh, he's not
frustration-
doing triads and things, or
No.
Huh. Okay.
No, so like I'm like, for example, like the whole for interjection thing. He'll refer to object relations, but it's not like he is classifying in terms of types. I think that's Almas, who had the kind of predecessor of frustration, attachment, rejection, and then Riso kind of named it as such. Yeah, it's been a while since I've looked at it, but I remember being like arguing with people and being like, wow, like they're very certain about like really dumb stuff. And it was mostly about loyalty to whatever orientation that was originally learned.
This is kind of covering old ground, but is it correct that that Naranjo, I don't know, sort of wrote off even his own earlier stuff around subtypes? Isn't that right?
Yeah, my understanding is that later Naranjo said his earlier stuff was more like
Sketches.
sketches. Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
I think
okay.
that was the word that was
Yeah.
used. Was sketches and throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what stuck. And it wasn't to be taken as gospel,
Oh, okay.
but it was taken as gospel.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I think is hilarious is that people, you know, like if you raise like, oh, that looks 9-ish or whatever, somebody says, people get very like, well, that's just motivation. You can't actually tell people's motivation through what they say or whatever. Well, like Naranjo famously, in like a mid-90s Enneagram conference, he was a keynote speaker or something, or like the conference keynote speaker. And he went around a conference, and I guess everybody in the room he like pointed to and typed them visually. And so that's where some people that we know are mistyped, who are major Enneagram teachers, got their affirmation that they were typed the way that they currently type. And so yeah, he typed people visually and just went around like he didn't even talk to them. It wasn't even like a type video. It was just you're this, you're this, you're this. And a lot of people still today hold on to it. Was like 1995 or something. Still hold on to that. So that was Naranjo.
Is he a social sexual?
That's what we have him as, social sexual 5-wing-6.
That can make sense to me. I haven't looked at him closely, but that can make sense. His writing style is just like
social sexual,
throwing stuff out there, not really sticking anywhere.
Yeah. Well, I could do a rundown. At least we could start with that. A rundown of kind of the highlights in terms of the episodes that we did this year. So we started the year off. January was Josh kicking things off with his object relations theory of the centers, and Kristen came on to do dream work. That was basically January, and then we just sort of like came in without any agenda and see what would come up, and we started going into we did some wing stuff, we did stolen youth, that that Psycho 8, and then we revisited revisited soul intercourse, Scratch My Soul. That was fun. And then we did OR stackings, like The Last Shall Be First, and then David unleashed his theory about the aliens slave race.
Good. I'm glad that's on the list. That's
Turned out to be completely true.
Yeah.
Narrowly avoided that one.
And then the thing that people listen to the most, the Instinct Stack Roastathon, our most listened to episodes.
That was a highlight.
It's like everybody just it seems
Classic.
like we do a roast. If you put roast in the title, everyone's like, yeah, let's. We just put roast on everything so that we can get people to actually pay attention. But the roasts were a big highlight this year, and the drama around some of the roasts.
Was
let's
just
see.
as interesting. Was just as interesting.
It was just it was exemplary.
Very informative. Yeah. Just as teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we should do more roasts. What if this upcoming year we like redid all the Trifix roasts?
We should.
It's been
we
a
should.
while.
Yeah.
I
That's a
wasn't
good idea.
around when you guys did that.
Yeah, we could do that again.
I want to do a roast on all the SPSO Bermudas that created by the alien race.
We could do a special SPSO
Yeah.
Bermuda.
I think that would be a great idea. Just Bermuda in general, because I remember when you guys did the Bermuda roast. I remember it like. No offense, y'all, but
Yeah, I mean,
didn't hit that hard.
we
you know?
we could
well, shit.
even on this podcast.
I got a bunch
Bermudas
of
are
stuff.
slippery. Yeah, we're
Oh, well.
slippery. We'll avoid your words.
Because this year, Alexandra joined the podcast as a host,
Yes, thank you. Thank
It's
and
been a problem the whole time.
and one Bermuda came in and another Bermuda left.
you.
What does that say about Bermuda? How resilient are y'all really?
Yeah, aren't you about ready to
Y'all thought
storm
you
off
were.
as well?
Yeah. Y'all thought you were getting rid of someone? Don't think so. What were the zones this year? There was the summer one. Was that
The
June,
Chicago
July,
zone, the
something
best
like
zone
that?
ever.
Yeah.
That's
You guys
Truly
are all-
the best zone ever. And what was the
And then you
fall
said
one?
New
Was that
York.
October?
Yeah.
Yes, October.
October.
Which
October,
those are
okay.
two of my for
Yeah,
different
that was
reasons.
good.
Two of
Yeah.
my favorite zones. Just
Yeah,
like,
I agree. Same.
Why was
Yeah.
the second one a favorite?
why would it be a favorite?
Yeah. it would be favorite.
Because
You
of
said
my
it
guitar
happened?
playing. Because
Because I met
guitar
somebody in
set.
the back
True.
Guitar
rooms.
True, true.
In the back rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, back rooms make the
That's
whole new
seven.
meaning.
Yeah.
Back rooms, back walls.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
the music even said it all.
Oh yeah.
Dun, 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 the seven.
Oh yeah,
Seven.
that's right.
The seven.
Mhm.
That's right.
No, that was an
that was
epic-
the main song. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
a great song. No, that was a great. Yeah, we had some great zones this year. Even a slow year, the zones were.
Oh, here's
The
this person.
highlights.
Here's this.
She's here now.
Oh, they were
Uh-oh.
definitely like the
Oh, no.
highlight of the
Yeah,
We're
year.
gonna have to deal
for
with
sure.
person.
Is she gonna be on video?
Here she
Let's
is.
see. Let's see.
The
The seven.
seven.
There she is.
It took you long enough.
Hey, I
Can we
can't
wrap
hear.
this up?
Okay. Oh shit. Okay.
Oh,
Come on, get it together.
Are you gonna
Give
be
me
in the?
5 seconds, okay? I'm very disoriented.
Well,
You're embarrassing
talk-
us on our
Just-
podcast.
No,
I mean,
no.
why did
just
you
start
join?
beating them up.
Why did you
Prom.
join the call and not be ready?
Exactly.
No, shut the
Oh my
fuck up, guys.
god. I'm gonna leave.
Yeah. Well, don't leave. Just beat them up.
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
verbally assault them. They're fine. They can handle it.
I'm very angry
Shut
We were just talking about the last zone and
Yeah.
and
Aw.
why it's.
Yeah.
Back
why
rooms,
it was
back walls.
special. And it was mainly
talking about
Emeka
highlights
said it
this
was
year.
mainly because of my guitar playing that the zone
There
was
she
special.
is.
Hey, what's up?
There she is.
How you doing?
Good. I'm excited to see you guys again.
You too. Your hair looks cute.
Looks like you put on a whole
Thank
outfit
you.
and everything.
But yeah, what were you guys talking about?
We were just talking about the
Let me
zones.
interrupt.
Yeah, did that last zone, Ikram, was there anything
Was there anything
significant for
special
you?
that happened in New York? Is this,
In-
Nothing I
No?
can think of, you know.
Okay, yeah,
No,
that's what I
nothing
thought.
Big.
Nothing big.
Just a nice chill.
no backroom
chill
activities.
experience.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
a chill.
I can't believe you're saying this because I think the last conversation we had, you're like, yeah, I guess 2023 was a good year.
Yeah, it was all right.
The pod went
It was-
well.
Pod went well,
Some other stupid
That's
second
it.
reason. I think I was like the fourth one. Like, great.
That makes sense to me.
just
social blinds.
finding more
Yes.
covert ways to roast. some
Yeah,
chill
that's what we
things.
were talking about before you got on. We were talking about the was it just two? It was just the two, right?
Yeah, we only had 2 zones this year, but I did
Yeah.
come to New
Wow.
York in the spring to hang out
That's
with
right.
y'all. We had our little
Yes,
mini
that's
zone.
A
Yeah,
mezzo
the mini
zone.
zone.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Zoncito. Yeah.
Mhm.
Zonzito.
Mesopotamia.
So yeah, that it was the summer and October. Oh yeah, those were amazing.
They were
I thought
amazing
those were
times.
so
the
good.
best. Yeah, the only 2 I've ever gone to. So, of course,
I mean, those were like
are the best zones.
cream of the crop.
They were good despite themselves.
Despite
No.
Ikram being there.
After 2022 and the events that transpired at the last New York zone, it was like, you know what? We're going to quality control the fuck out of the invitees.
I keep
from
telling-
now on.
Yeah.
I keep telling Emeka
Yeah.
that I feel like Mark Wahlberg when he talks about the New York zone. Because I'm like, it wouldn't have gone down like that if I was there.
That's true though. That's
Yeah.
true though. Yeah, I guess 2022 was also the same kind of setup. There was a summer zone and like a
There was.
Mhm.
winter
Mhm.
kind of fall kind of deal.
And we've got a good early zone coming in February.
Yeah.
I know. I'm excited.
So excited.
Crom, you're going?
No, she's not going. Of course she's going.
What's like having an 8 mom and an 8 boyfriend?
Really stressful. I actually,
The stress is not coming from me, okay?
I
think you should let her
stress him
speak.
I think I stress him out because
Because
I
her mom
actually know how to
stresses her
deal
out.
with him. I was like,
Her mom stresses her out.
oh, I know what's happening.
So her mom stresses her out, and then she stresses me out.
I thought she stressed her mom out.
No. Her
I
mom
do.
is.
It's a
Yeah.
it's a triple threat
Mm.
cycle of stress.
Caught between 2 8s.
Yeah, it's interesting because I have more assertive energy than both of you because we discovered my mom is freaking Stockholm adjacent. She has a 2-fix.
Mhm.
Amika
And she's
looked
got
at
a
her
9 ring.
OPS typing video, and then my dad's a Stockholm. So fucking weird.
Mhm.
Oh,
You
wow,
got a
it's
thing for
Stockholm.
rejection
You said
types.
He's a 9. Your dad's a 9. or
Amika
2?
retyped him as 6.
Oh,
He said he's a 6 with secondary 2, which
Oh,
makes a little
yikes.
bit more sense actually. 'Cause he's a pretty reactive guy.
Super reactive.
Mm.
Imagine
I
two
mean-
reactive types that are freaking Stockholm.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes.
damn.
I love you. That's why I'm shaking you.
So that'll fit in right with Emeka.
I'm not really like that.
The love style.
Yeah, true. Love monster. Love monster, Emeka.
Well, you let her tell me. Let her. What's my love style?
Very sweet
Yeah, soft boy.
and intense and verbal. I think we're both verbal, like words of affirmation and things like that. But I know you'd probably cringe at the words of affirmation title, but it's like very sweet. Like we're both quite romantic actually. We like send each
Aw.
other songs all the time, and I had a dream about you.
Aw, that was cute.
Yeah. And then a lot of quality time. I think we talk every day. We've talked every single day since we've been together, I'm pretty sure. We probably missed like maybe 1 or 2 days.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's
Oh,
what I got
so
so far.
sweet.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were
I
you
said we
saying,
need
Allie?
to formally replace the title of like, I don't know, like badass demon boy. Because our badass like demon gatekeeper demon boy has now become like a soft, lover plushy bear.
You think
Yeah.
that there's
So,
like a transformation that
accepting-
happened?
Accepting applications.
This is what happens beyond the sexual barrier. It's only for a select
That's
few.
very true. That's very true.
Doesn't
Yes,
mean that
I do
anything
know
has
about
changed
that.
outside.
Outside.
Okay, you know what? That's a great point.
I'm
That's a
still
great
Yeah.
point.
killing in these
I mean,
streets.
think about how he's been with us. It hasn't led up.
No. Yeah, that's a fair point. The thing with those social blinds is that
No.
social sweet spot stays private.
I started off
my
the
bad.
year with the massacre. I'm very proud of it. Cleaned out the group. A certain group of people were eliminated.
Damn, that was this year. This year's been so long and so short at the same time.
Yeah.
There's been a weird thing of like so much has happened and also like nothing has happened.
Yeah. Well, I didn't feel like a lot has happened.
It was like the first normal year after COVID.
Mhm.
Maybe that's why it feels weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
What else happened this year? We had we had the Chicago zone, and after that there was like a pot on, like a lot of stuff about social pain was coming up because that was such a good zone and such a I think it was a real intimate zone, and so there was a lot of social pain stuff coming up, and pretty soon after that, Alexandra and Josh did their attachment support group.
And then we did also social roles. So like there was a lot of social stuff this year.
Right. Yeah.
That was good. Yeah.
Yeah. The social roles were fun.
That was
OPS.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. I want you guys. I know you guys need like a break, but doing the attachment type support group, I think would be a cool thing to do again.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
Me and Alexandra have been talking about doing a sexual blind support group.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, just like of what it means to activate your sexual instinct, and me being sexual dom, her being sexual blind, and just having different perspectives on that. But I think that would be a cool I feel like, we were talking about the limitations of Enneagram learning, whatever, at the beginning of this. And I feel like these kind of deeper dives into these sort of subject matters would be kind of the next place the Enneagram could go. Because, like, where else could you learn about, even if in another kind of language, like sexual blindness? Like, where else could you recognize the pitfalls of what that means, or social blindness, or self-worth blindness, or whatever it might be?
Right.
So I feel like even though the Enneagram's popularity might be stagnant, those kind of frontiers would be the most. There's still so much stuff that is exclusively rich within the Enneagram. So yeah, and then I was thinking about, like, one-off little classes on, like, the passions or fixations, or whatever kind of
Deep dives.
Yeah, deep dives that would be, like, useful to work with. I feel like also we have a lot of series that we haven't completed. I think we, like, even this whole year we didn't even finish them. Like we haven't done frustration yet. We haven't finished the wings.
How much is
what
left
else
on
we
the
got?
wings?
4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Alexandra, why don't you tell us why we didn't continue the wings?
That's just not where the juice was. Look, I've learned. You got to follow the juice.
Follows the juice.
Mm-hmm.
She and I have a sexual blind support group, just together.
You
Where
make
she's
the juice
Ongoing.
loose, you unloose the juice.
Tutelage.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking maybe we've come up with so many things in the last 3 years, a lot of, like, really cool concepts that weren't necessarily fleshed out. They were just, like, new explosions, like attachment to disconnect. Like, there are a lot of things that we could circle back around and look at with fresh eyes and see what comes up. Because, I mean, there's only so many. I mean, the thing about the Enneagram is, like, there's only so many new concepts. You kind of have to go back and look again to see what new things come up, because, I mean, there's a limited amount of ideas to look at. So it's like going back to rediscover if there's new angles on some of the stuff that we've.
Well, and there is, like we talked about earlier with the Trifix. There's more. We've learned stuff
Right.
over the last couple of years after that roast.
Yeah, and I feel like there might be some interesting things about each, like rejection, frustration, in sort of in light of attachment to disconnect. Like the fact that, like, as an 8, like, rejection is literally rejecting some sensation. So what does that mean? How does that work? What does it mean to reject in the heart center, in the mental center? How are you rejecting? And then in frustration, I mean, let's see, this is, like, really faint, but sometimes I get the sense of, like, frustration in general is underlying the suffering of the personality, because frustration is the response to an infant not getting its needs met, not being attuned to, getting missed. And so I wonder if, and this might just be my bias as a 4, but if in frustration, let's see how to put this, like, there's some almost inherent incompatibility with reality, because there's some of that, like, if you're attaching, right, you're adapting, right? There's some part of you that you're sort of washing over or blurring the lines of so that you can adapt. And if you're rejecting, you're just cutting something off. But if you're frustration, there's, like, one foot in this reality that cannot exist in material reality. You know what I'm saying? There's, like, one foot in each reality in a certain way.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's something there. Like,
well, is part of your point that frustration is central to personality, all personality? Because the personality is never. Yeah. No, that's something that I've landed on in a different way. That was part of my strange revelation in the New York zone, is that that's, well, one thing to say about it is, like, the word fixation has that quality of, like there's a knot here, and and you can't undo the knot, which is a frustrating kind of thing. Like you're not ever gonna, the personality's kind of never going to get what it wants,
There's
but
a
it's always
certain
going
like
to want it.
yeah, there's a certain reality principle that it doesn't adhere to, or something.
Yes.
You know, there's some way in which the frustration type cannot totally let go of the impractical thing that cannot exist in material reality.
And then all personalities, because they are just a sliver, let's say, of the 9-part circle, are not dealing with reality, right?
Exactly. Right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Right. And
yeah.
and most of it is through cutting or adapting. You know, like, and so there's the frustration thing is like there's some way that it can't cut or adapt, and so you know, it's kind of like I mentioned in the chat that I think it'd be interesting to do an episode with some trans people because trans people have some recognition that my outer form and my inner identity are out of sync. Right? There's some recognition there, and at least as a 4, it's not the same way. It's not through gender, but or like, you know, whatever. But it's like there's some recognition inherently there that there's like an incompatibility with my outer form, my inner form. And so that would be an interesting exploration, I feel like. And also the fact that like as a frustration type, like as a 4, what I'm doing as a 4 is I'm trying to reinforce the unique part of my identity. And I'm doing that from a kind of like I started doing that as a child. So I'm doing that from a developmentally incomplete point of view. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, oh, my parents or my environment is not seeing me. And so I'm trying to see myself, but I'm doing that as a child. I'm doing that from a developmentally incomplete capacity to see myself. So it's never a complete seeing. And so I feel like those things would be interesting to trace in the body center and the mental center as well, and even get clear in 4 as well. You know, just that core kind of pain would be interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that sounds
Yeah, this
juicy.
pings
Yeah.
also my overlaps thing where I've got the instincts and the stackings on the Enneagram symbol,
Right.
wherein, like if the social instinct, one of the things it is the personality instinct. And
Right.
1 and 7 are the 2 social dominant types in the overlaps, right? So there's that, you know, kind of corroborates frustration as personality. And then 4 is social blind, trying to make an original personality. You know what I mean? And that's the frustration through no outside social influence, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else did we do this year? We did the fear, rage, and shame series.
Oh, that was good.
That was in terms of like the most listened to episodes, the roastathon, sexual instinctivity, and then Josh's object relations, and then the rage, fear, and shame. Those were the most listened to pods that we did.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot more material to mine out of the Josh perspective.
I agree.
You
like,
said that you were going to do a follow-up at some point.
Yeah, we need to do that. We've been cooking on a lot.
Yeah, and Josh just wrote a new thing, a new paper on it or whatever that goes further in detail, and he and I just got together last night and talked a good bit about new stuff that he's got there. So, yeah.
How's the intro to Enneagram course coming along?
It's going slow. I mean, I'm editing and it's just very, very fucking painfully slow.
That's another development for this year. Is John editing for the first time?
Terrible. Horrible idea.
Functional John's shit.
Functional
John. 4. Hashtag functional 4.
It's also amazing. Like, you know, I'm working on like a overview of the Enneagram book, and so creative energy. It's like go with creative energy, and so it's like the writing will happen, but then the like editing is just, you know, like it doesn't feel creative to me. Like I know it is creative, but it is not doesn't feel creative.
It's marginally creative. It's not actually creative.
Yeah. So what do you guys want to do next year?
It's funny whenever we talk about like plans for next year, and then you go back and listen to the thing that we said the year before. A very small fraction of that actually pans out because it's just hard to actually look at like the events of what might happen, what might take place personally, and where that might take you. I know for me, at the end of 2022, personally, I wanted to really internally look at judgment and discernment. Just because I didn't have on a personal level, I did not have a good year in 2022 and made some
You had
horrible
no judgment or
decisions.
discernment?
Yeah, horrible decisions. And also just like judgment and vision was a thing that I wanted to nail down internally, because I'm like, if I can nail down what my long-term, what I'm looking for, then I'll be able to just not get myself roped up into these just nothing dumb relationships or whatever. And so that's one thing I'm really happy about this year is I sort of sidestepped a lot of dumb shit.
Now it's just a semi-dumb relationship.
Yeah.
And I ended up in the relationship.
Rude.
Dumbish.
So rude.
You know, just dumb adjacent.
Dumb
You're just gonna have to settle for
Rude
lesser
social
goat.
blinds.
He's gonna
No,
say all this and then cry when I confront him later. He's like,
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
where
yeah.
it came from. All of a sudden, you were so angry, and it was scary.
Yeah, I told him about Darker Crom. I told him about
Hashtag
No.
I'm in a relationship with two Akroms. There's Dark Akrom and there's Bubbly.
And we're not going to cut out that part about Dark Akrom.
No. Dark Akrom is a real
Don't.
phenomenon.
I want to listen to it. I want to hear what you think is going on.
You don't care about your reputation in the community.
Fuck
No,
it.
she wants a formidable reputation. That's what she wants.
Darker Crom in the room with us
There's
now.
some truth to that. I want people to know that
Yeah, how do we
I
bring
can fuck you up if I have to.
Yes, it's in her blood. Okay, genocidal Mali tendencies are
Don't
in
attract
there.
that into your life. It's like doing a law of attraction. It's like saying genocide 7 times a day for like 3 years and then wonders why he ends up dead.
I'm just saying. One
Some
week out of the
7-9
year.
advice.
1 week
Careful
out of the
with
year.
your words.
Hey, I've already experienced it. I don't need to manifest it. It's been here.
Oh my god.
No, I feel good about this year on that front, because that was definitely something I wanted to take a more serious look at. Judgment, yeah, and so I feel good about decisions I've made this year. So next year, in terms of what I want, on a personal level, foundations, like we're gonna have to, build a life together and try to spend as much time together, and so there's gonna be building good foundations for that. And I also think that's a theme for just the Enneagram in general. Like circling back around, and we've created a lot of stuff, but it's disorganized and making it easy for new people to like, where do we start? Like, what are you guys' philosophy? What is the overview of what you guys are up to? So like, there's a certain level of maturity that's taking place, but we just don't have the organization for people who need that. And so I think it's not necessarily what's the new stuff. It's more like organize the thing that you've already come up with.
Yeah,
So,
that's one thing I should mention is there's a group in England that meets weekly that's really, really into our stuff. The formerly DAA stuff, etc. The podcast as well. And they have spent some significant time looking at the Enneagrammer site and kind of codifying it or putting it into all the videos and things into categories for like starting at object relations. Here's step 1 or the centers, and which videos go with which topics, and sort of a suggested trail that you go through in terms of learning how to type or just learning the Enneagram, etc. through our videos and the podcast as well. So Working
Sounds
on that
really
this
cool.
coming year. Yeah.
Yeah, creating better on ramps, basically.
Yeah.
You know, if you're brand new, like there's just a lot of sprawling content that we've made, and it's not clearly explained and not clearly organized, and so that's going to be because it's not this year. I felt like, oh, let's see what we can do to advance the business, and I really feel like that's getting off track because that's really not what got us here. To get back to just creating for the sake of it and making things better. I feel like I got off track trying to think of like how do we market ourselves better, or how do we do this quiz that's going to make us money, and it's like I've never done anything significant out of like, oh, this is going to make money, at least in this field. It's just not.
Yeah.
So I just want to get back to doing things because for the sake of it. That's where all the interesting stuff has come out of.
I was telling Emeka that maybe you guys should have it'd be cool if you guys got some people from the Facebook group onto the pod or whatever to do some kind of like do themed episodes about the types. And yeah, I think
the
that'd be
people I just
interesting.
mentioned, they would be probably good candidates for that. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool to have like not only examples of the types, but people who are aware of the Enneagram and your guys' work who are the types that you guys are discussing. That'd be interesting. Yeah.
I've been
It
meaning
would
to
be
do.
good to have like interviews again.
Yeah.
It's been
Yeah.
like years, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Been meaning to do social hexad. So like Ikram,
yeah.
Joseph, and if she's willing, her friend Al do a social hexad call, and then a social blind
Very cool.
attachment call.
Yeah,
Three attachment types that are social blind. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Call to do just those people, just
That's a
talking
great
amongst
idea.
themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Have us ask provoking questions. I think would be a good idea too.
It'll be better, better framed than just throwing you and Joseph in a call and just all right.
Yes. Yes.
There'll be a pre-call
Connecting.
so they can get used to each other and all that stuff.
Yeah. A social 9 and a social 4 meeting for the first time on a recorded line. Thank you for that.
Made
Too
sense
good.
to us. Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes for great content. Yeah, you guys had to navigate.
Yeah.
I think there are things that like I listen to a couple of podcasts regularly, but they're kind of like responding to current events in a certain way, and like we aren't, like I mean sometimes
Right.
we do, but it's not. And so I was thinking like there might be like I wonder if there's ways to do something like that where like people are interested in the perspectives of people that they have some interest in riffing on something current. And Alexandra, I don't know if this is embarrassing to you, but
No, let her rip.
she's been doing a deep dive on a show called Scandoval, which is
No,
about
it's called Vanderpump.
Okay.
Let's try. Vanderpump
All right.
Rules, and it's Scandoval.
It's Scandoval.
Ikram knows it too.
Okay. Well, something like that might be a good podcast episode if you could do Scandoval. Is like
I would do that with you, Alexandra.
You two should do
Okay,
it.
let's do it.
I've typed that entire show. I have way too much to say.
You have no idea how many podcasts Alexander has listened to just breaking down this one
Yes.
dude who cheated on a girl.
No, I've been,
you know?
I've been obsessed. Yeah, I've been.
It's been
completely
weird.
Obsessed.
Yeah,
It's the way
so-
he did it. I mean,
DJ3,
it's crazy the way he did it.
See these
way he
fucking repugnant
fucking
social
did it.
types just going for it.
I mean,
Yeah.
you guys should be sexually whatever traumatized. Imagine
Yes.
your best friend hooks up with your freaking girl. That's
Ooh.
horrible. Like that
Whoa.
is fucking traumatizing. And
Yeah.
your freaking grandfather dies. You leave your house to go see your grandfather and bury him in grief. They're fucking the whole time. Like it's crazy.
A 7-month
Emeka
affair.
and I gotta
That's
watch
not
David.
Casual.
You know, it seemed like a lot of people, just judging by people's accounts, like people got into some relationships this year. Like just from looking
Oh,
at,
some people did?
yeah, just like people posting their partners. People seem to, find people.
Cuffing season.
Yeah, it happened. It worked out for people this year.
Now, you can understand a little bit about my sexual floor pathology, where I'm like, I must be deeply ugly because I would see all these girls going for these guys, and I was and like not giving me a second glance, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? You know, like
Yeah, it's not about looks.
It's time and place, really, most of the time. And then also,
and availability, also like how easy it's going to be to catch the goods.
Yeah.
John's not an easy catch.
Yeah, you're probably underestimating how much like don't fucking talk to me energy you have, you know?
Thank you. That's literally exactly what I said. It was like John's like beauty to scary ratio is just like that. It's like at toxic levels, you know? No one's going to talk to him.
Scary levels.
Yeah, it was like he's too beautiful and too scary. Like it's a bad ratio.
I liked Emeka for a long time, okay? And I never talked to him because he was scary.
Exactly.
When I did talk to him,
scary.
I was like, do you even like me?
Saying,
like, not even just like me romantically. Can you stand me as a human being?
Right, exactly.
That's the question, isn't it? That's the question.
Yeah, the reason David catches so many flies is because he's not scary. He's just not scary.
David is scary.
And he's not scary.
He's scary.
He's not. No, he's not.
He's more approachable, I guess, than
David
beauty.
has a different
not so
kind of
scary.
He's polite
That's
enough,
what I mean.
guess.
David's not negative.
Scary.
Like, you guys both have the energy that you can just like cuss somebody out like horribly.
Exactly.
And like ruin their self-esteem.
Emeka and I could have had the girls of our dreams if we just fucked ourselves up earlier in our life.
David has trickster energy. Like, even if he rejects you, you have the feeling that, you know, you're probably not gonna hurt my feelings about it. He's like gonna make it funny.
He's gonna be satanic polite.
Yes.
What was it? Satanic?
That's right.
What was the third one?
Both of you have
Satanic, fantastical, and polite.
Yeah, satanic, fantastical, polite. We're just satanic.
There you go.
Satanic rising, satanic sun, satanic moon.
Exactly.
No angel rising. Yeah.
Is there any more stuff that we need to cover?
Beer, half a beer. Okay, 3.5.
In terms of wrap up of 2023, is there anything we're missing here?
I don't know. Maybe like aspirations for 2024.
We did that.
Let's
how
name
about,
that.
How about
really?
who's going to win the presidential election?
Oh God!
I don't care. I couldn't care less about what happens with the country. It's already a shithole.
Yeah.
So is it going to be
Yeah,
worse
we all
or
know
maybe
it's
better?
We know it's going to be our boy Trump.
What's that? Mark Cuban was going to run. There's rumbling.
Oh my God, that's so funny. He won't go anywhere.
He might actually win if he does.
Really, you think?
I don't think Biden's going to win again. I think it's
No,
going to be
No
Trump.
way, Biden just
Trump
so
is
It's going to be
dumb.
Trump. It's going to be Trump, yeah.
Unless the Democrats actually just do something crazy, like put Mark Cuban on. Let's
Right,
nominate The Rock.
Is Trump going to be allowed to be on a ballot though?
Yeah, I think so. It's looking that way.
I think so. I think they're like the Democrats are working to get him off ballots in certain states, and I think that it's Colorado or something. It's like contested right now.
I'm good with
Well,
that.
at least Trump is funnier than Biden. Biden has not been funny. And
At least-
Biden is struggling.
At least Biden has been basically invisible, which is better than the chaos bomb that Trump is every fucking week.
True. Yeah. Yes.
I guess people are bored and they're like, well, let's just have the fucking clown back.
Yeah.
right, let's
Clown
bring back
shows.
the
I
Joker.
really think that's what it is. Yeah.
The Joker
I think
ate.
with the Trump with all his like braggadociousness is convincing people that he's actually doing stuff, whereas Biden's kind of just like hiding around doing
Drooling
nothing.
on
So
himself.
everyone's like, he's not doing
his
anything.
brain is just falling out of his nose. No, I hate both of them, but I think Trump
Sleepy
will win.
Joe. I think Trump will win too.
Amazing. You know, like how unpopular Trump was, and you think, oh, slam dunk, you know, but no.
Trump is the president we deserve. I don't say that lightly, but Trump is the president that the USA deserves.
Yeah,
I don't support Trump, listeners.
but
But-
he reflects this shithole country that we're in.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Exactly.
why did you
He's
send
the
me a
proper
bunch
mirror.
Alexander, you sent me a bunch of Trump paraphernalia, though.
Shut up.
Yeah, Latinas for Trump.
He's lying.
If you're from Florida, you're a Trump supporter. We know this already.
Tina's for Trump. No, I'm not a Trump supporter, everyone.
No, Latinx.
Don't believe them.
Latinx for Trump.
Trump.
the headquarters right in my apartment.
God. So embarrassing.
When there was what was that natural disaster in Puerto Rico, and this dude was just throwing
Oh, Maria.
throwing paper
We love,
towels.
we love Puerto Rico.
This guy is throwing water bottles. Here you go. Here you go. Like he's really doing something.
I guess we
Let's
missed
make
a
a video
comedy
somewhere.
routine that was his presidency, because this dude was just
That's what I mean.
every month was something hilarious that was happening.
That's exactly what I mean. Yeah. Yeah. 8-wing-7 Gemini. It's just a monster of a person.
The president is not supposed to be your entertainment machine, people.
That's how bored
this
we
is
are.
serious.
This dude,
Yeah.
Biden's
Don't you
falling
care.
asleep mid-sentence. That we're like, yo, you can't even make any controversial jokes, man. Like, bring back
I
Trump.
know. Yeah, I know. Right. Like least funny 7 ever.
I'm
I mean,
surprised.
Biden is like dealing
He's
with some kind of neurological.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
almost dead.
Issues.
Totally.
Yeah, decline. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised how
He's
weird and bad Kamala Harris turned out to be.
Oh my
I know.
God. I know.
God.
I know she was that just off the rails.
It's amazing. Like, that she doesn't have the excuse of being a million years old and can't string a sentence together any better than Biden.
I think she's on pills. I mean, I'm not
She
even
gotta
kidding.
be.
I feel
Yeah.
like she's on pills.
That's a good
Heard
point.
it
Yeah,
first,
I hadn't
guys.
thought of
I
that.
think she is.
John, were you looking for that clip where
Yeah,
Trump
I'm
is
trying to find
Trump
it.
says, Puerto Rico. He says it in like the weirdest way possible. It's like, everyone, keep your thoughts and prayers for Puerto Rico. And he says it just like that. Like, why are you saying it like that?
What that means is, I mean, he does this with a bunch of things. That means he just learned how to say it, literally. And he's super proud. Like when he says that thing, a lot of people don't know this, but Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. That means he just learned it.
Dude, 8s are so, oops. I mean, Trump is so.
Wow. Look at
Wow.
you
Man,
trying to lump me in there. I see what you did there.
objectifying.
All right.
It's
I got
just
something for
blocky, blocky, braggadocious blobs. Yeah.
I got something for you.
Emeka the Great. ladies and gentlemen.
Just lump me in with Trump, okay? Cool.
Well,
Makes sense.
Andrew Tate.
Facebook group as his
Hitler.
wall.
Andrew
You know?
Tate. There's another one. Another great. Yes.
Mussolini.
Mussolini, all the great dictators. Just lump me in with those guys.
Andrew Tate's 3 fix, right? What is
Yeah,
he?
Yeah,
it's like
583?
Trump.
863.
Or 853?
Kyle.
Oh,
863,
86. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Kyle,
8666. Yeah.
That's why he's better verbally.
Social
Trump.
self-pres, yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
that too, but also that his head fix is
Oh,
second,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
think
yeah, yeah,
Trump
yeah.
is 836. in
That's
that
true,
order.
yeah.
So
But
he's-
Trump is great
Trump
on the
is
mic.
6'7"
In front of a
too, right?
crowd, he is...
He's
impre-
not.
No.
He's-
He is. Like, he is actually very skilled in terms of, like, put him in, like, a rally
I get what you
situation.
mean.
Like, his ability
Kind
to
of.
come up with
Control emotions.
riffs and jokes.
That's
like,
fair.
he's an entertainer. Like, and that's
He
that's
is
a
an
very
entertainer.
that's a very
Entertainer, yeah.
rare skill to have. Like,
That's very true.
like to get to the finish line before the election. Like, he did a bunch of rallies, and because I think that's his strength. Like, put him in front of a crowd of people, and he'll entertain for a couple hours, and that's
That's totally it. Yeah.
That's hard to
No,
do.
If he wasn't so entertaining and like funny,
Right.
he wouldn't be up at the top. There's
And
no
you-
way.
Yeah.
There's no way. He has to carry these like horrible beliefs and mindsets and also be like very funny and like
very funny.
TikTokable, you know?
Like,
Maybe
he's
having
yeah.
head last helps him. 'Cause it's like he's really saying nothing when he's up there.
That's
on
true.
the mic.
True,
Half the time
very
he's just
true.
like,
Yeah.
why is light so fucking loud? Oh my god, we need to fire the
literally-
light guy. I'm not paying him.
Yeah.
The media's gonna say that he didn't pay the light guy. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is 15
There was
minutes of
even-
his airtime.
There was even like I think it was when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, but like there's a clip that went viral that people would post on different, like the sound on different things where he's like, that's the first time I'm hearing about that ever. I didn't know about that before, but now I know about that. And it's just like
Your
like
impression
even
is
his
so good.
yeah, even his
Well.
dumbass response to just something like really
Yeah.
basic like that is just really fucking funny and memeable.
And so you
It's
got,
so
I mean, who has been more entertaining presidential candidate who's been anywhere remotely close to that entertaining? And that's worth something. In this day and age where everyone's scrolling through their phone, like it's worth something that you have someone who's not boring. It doesn't even matter what he has to say.
Oh yeah, okay. Here it is.
Help me! I need water! Help!
He's like stupid shit like that.
Like I can't find this Puerto Rico thing. I had a video of it, but it was so funny where he's just like, "We love the people of
No.
Puerto Rico."
Oh,
Like he's just enjoying the act of saying the word.
Yeah.
You know, like he's liking it in his mouth. Just
That's his one outreach to the Latin community, saying
Yeah.
the word correct, the name.
Puerto Rico.
It's better than more entertaining than Biden. I mean, people just forgot that we
Right, I
even had
got
a
it.
president. We
I
even
know.
forgot that we had a president. There was some fucking sock puppet that was there for 4 years. And now people are like, you know what?
He
Bring
even
Trump
plays
back.
into it. Somebody asked him a question one day, and he was like, "I think that's above my pay grade." Just laughed. It was like definitely a question that was in his pay grade. Like admitting to having handlers. I'm like, dude.
This is it. I just sent it. I don't know how to like play it
Oh.
for everybody.
Where is it?
I just
In
sent it in the
in the-
chat. Puerto Rico.
Oh, let me.
Okay, I just listened to him say it.
Such a moron.
It's just such a Puerto Rico.
And the way he like
Melania.
I know she's a vampire. The way he like stretches his mouth too, you know.
Puerto Rico.
Oh man.
Puerto Rico.
We love the people of Puerto Rico.
That's the kind of shit that people like, you know what? We'll tune in and watch this. This is like see what this motherfucking clown will do. Who's actually our president.
Have you guys
Exactly.
seen the face app of all the world leaders as women? So they did
Yes.
as a woman. He looks like fucking Melania Trump. Like
He
that is
does.
beautiful.
Really does.
just amazing narcissism. He looks like his wife.
God, what a marriage those two must have. What's Melania? Some kind of dead 9?
Yeah, she's a 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Is 9-3 or something?
Probably 9-3.
Yeah, she's probably
Got to be
nine.
secondary
I
3,
think
right?
She's a
like
Bermuda. Yeah.
She has to be Bermuda. She has fear in her eyes.
She's a Stepford.
She
Stepford wife.
always looks like, what the fuck are
Yeah.
you saying? She knows her husband's not a Bermuda. She's like, what?
yeah, but she looks like she's like trying to stay with like the image. And she just
Yes.
this weird like
Part of the alien slave
So
race.
good.
Shit.
That was really good.
yeah, she's just blank. It won't let me send it.
So anything else about 2023? Any last words?
I
I'm
don't
at
think
peak
so.
drunkenness. I think I'm peaking.
I'm
now,
ready
but-
for peaking.
Sorry.
I'm ready for 2024.
It's just going to be more of the same.
2024.
It's just going
Best
to be
year
more of the
ever.
No, it
same.
won't. No, it
Yeah, it
won't.
will.
Not with that attitude. Not with that attitude.
20
Excuse me. No, it won't.
You should do like a forecast for the year. Astrology
Oh,
forecast.
that'd be good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be fun. Okay, I can do a little overview. See what comes up.
Yeah, look at all our charts and all that shit.
2024 adds up
Oh,
to
my
8,
charts.
which is a chaos number. So
It's
get
going
ready
to
for
be
some-
it's going to be an
Well
Emeka
done.
year.
It is.
Emeka year.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Wait,
Uh-oh.
you need to do the African spirituality or
Oh yeah,
Nigerian
we
spirituality
cool.
What's that?
podcast.
What is it?
That was
yeah,
really
there's
cool.
we were looking up my last name. My last name, which is there's like 4 market days in Igbo cosmology, and my last name is one of those market days, and my mom's family name is also one of those market days. So we found a video that was looking at the cosmology of the 4 market days, and it's this elemental stuff that talks about fire, water, earth, and air. So the instincts are in there, and so it's this whole cosmology. So we could like tie it to the, like all that
In a really clear way. The instincts
very
are
clear
there.
way.
The
What-
first
that'd be cool.
first number is sexual.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Hmm.
and if we go back all the way back to all of our births, we're all birthed from sexual. 9
Mhm.
is at the top of the Enneagram symbol.
And the last one, well, it goes from sexual, fire, water, earth, and then air, and it's all line, like the last one is like the law of the land, social self-pres, and so yeah,
We should send you. We
Yeah,
should send that
let's see.
video, and then I think you'd find Alexandra, you'd find the social self-pres portion of the video really interesting because it's actually a pretty fucking just like straight description of social self-pres.
Oh wow.
That video was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, send it to me. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
yeah. Let me send it.
Yeah, what is it? What's the source? What's the?
This is a guy who is making videos about Igbo spirituality, and so this is Igbo cosmology.
And it's market days, but he said that
What
the
is that?
market days was.
What's part?
So
Market-
my last
Empire
name
World
is
Summer.
Okorafor, and Afor is a market day, and Okoro is like son of a market day, and so I was trying to find out the significance of that. My mom's name is Wanka, which Eke is one of the market days. It's like a son of or a child of that day, and so those days are basically Igbo cosmology saying that the entire universe is contained in those 4 days. Or those
Yeah,
four
that's kinda
four
cool.
forces, and so
Interesting.
the guy it's like 45-minute video where looking at like what those days and their elements and forces
You'd
of the
really
universe.
like it.
Yeah, it's really
I think
good.
That's cool.
David,
cool.
especially you'd like it because
Yeah.
the first Eke feels like sexual, but the social blind type of sexual, where it's everything is plasma, wet. They even said it's like all the negativity in the world condensed, and it goes into a myth of a husband killing his wife, and then after he kills his wife, he starts crying, and then it goes into the water segment of sexual, and then it goes into the self-pressed
Downward.
blind sexual stackings,
Right.
and then that's all about bling and enjoying life and blah blah blah, and then it goes into self-pressed social, like appreciating the earth and making sure that we're replenishing the earth as we take away from it, and then it goes into
Aw.
social self-pres.
Law of the
It
land
was
and
really good.
structures.
That sounds
and
awesome. That sounds
the-
super
and-
cool.
People live according to these. Like on Eke Day, there's a thing going around that people don't die on Eke Day because it's a bad omen to die on that day because it represents transformation and so you don't make significant decisions on that market day, and these market days still exist to this day. Like, and also, it's like astrology, where if you're born, depending on what day that you're born on, it says something about your life path and everything. So it's there's a lot there. There's a lot there to explore.
And then families
Yeah.
are named because of the day that they're born. And then we were talking about your mother's family and your father's family,
Yeah,
and it fit really well because your mother's family was Eke, and
my
they
dad's
were
family.
they were the warrior clan, and then your
Yeah.
dad's family is very social self-pres and about organization, and
Oh, wow,
it
cool.
fits perfectly with those descriptions. It's really interesting.
Ah,
So that'd be
sounds
cool to
cool.
potentially explore.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is fun.
You should bring OD. And
Yeah,
do it.
he's
Oh,
really
yeah.
into
The two
that.
of you
Oh
guys.
yeah,
Oh,
that'd be
is he?
really fun.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that'd be cool.
Yeah, he's really into that.
Yeah, I'll have
Huh.
to like poke around. myself,
African
yeah.
pod.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right.
All
well,
right.
I'm very sleepy. So
Yeah,
Here's to
good
2023, and
Very drunk.
let's look forward to 2024.
I think we started this in 2019.
Wow.
No, yeah, well, the first pod came out January 2020.
Yeah, but we
We started
Tunnels.
recording
Yeah.
fall of 2019. Yeah.
Fourth birthday.
We recorded
Came
like
up
3 of
soon.
them before we.
Yeah. The first episode came out in January 2020. A few months before the pandemic.
It's a baby that can talk now.
Yeah. It's
What
4
a
years. This is the
time.
4th year under the belt. People still listen to us for
Cute.
some reason.
Yeah.
Congratulations to us.
Yay.
But
Big
we have a
hormone lives
Venus-
on.
Venus sextile Pluto in 30 minutes, y'all. It's good.
Which
It's good
means,
stuff.
say something about it.
Relationships will be more, resilient towards like deeper discoveries, deeper digging, deeper excavation, like more resilience towards discomfort and like tough conversations and stuff like that. Like the right relationships will be prioritized during that.
What? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Pluto is
I'm with
like
that.
Hades.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
Venus and Hades. That's Persephone
So
and Hades
Akram
right
is
there.
Venus, Emeka is Hades.
There you go.
Well, it depends on the time of the month. That's
Well, that's true. That's totally
Dark
fair.
Sometimes it switches up. Hades.
dark
I
and crumb
so feel that.
emerges. Yes.
Dark and crumb. It's not dark and crumb. She's just a crumb with some shit to say.
Mm.
That's what I fucking said, and that's how I know that we're the smartest people in this fucking little chat
Okay.
here.
We're just gonna agree with that.
Absolutely.
We're just gonna agree with that.
Good.
Sure. All
Yeah,
right.
let's let the
Yeah.
social
Yeah.
types have their thing.
Yeah, we just
I totally.
As boyfriends and social types.
yes. Self-preservation over here.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Love
All right,
y'all.
y'all.
Bye,
Love y'all.
You guys, take
Bye.
care.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Love you guys. Happy New Year.